Faith Amnesia, by Pastor Kevin Sadler. Now the disciples had forgotten to take bread, and when Jesus knew it, he saith unto them, Why reason ye, because ye have no bread? When I brake the 5 loaves among 5,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? They say unto him, 12. And when the 7 among 4,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? And they said, 7. And he said unto them, How is it that ye do not understand? Mark 8:14a, 17a, 19-21. John W. Moore is credited with saying, Age hasn't affected my memory a bit. In fact, I can't even remember the last time I forgot something. John W. Moore, from the website of Kent Crockett, accessed December 4, 2016, www.kentcrockett.com/cgi-bin/illustrations/index.cgi. Topic equals forgetting. When reading the 4 Gospels, sometimes one has to wonder if the disciples suffered from memory loss. They definitely experienced faith amnesia. Mark 6:31-44 is the account of the Lord feeding the 5,000 by multiplying 5 loaves and 2 fishes. In Mark 8:1-9, they were again in the wilderness with a great multitude of 4,000 men present. In Mark 8:2, the Lord said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they have now been with me 3 days, and have nothing to eat. In response to this, you'd think the disciples would have said, Lord, simple, just do that miracle again and multiply and create some loaves and fishes like you did the last time. Instead they say, From whence can a man satisfy these men with bread here in the wilderness? Mark 8:4. In other words, where could anyone find enough bread in this wilderness? Where could we possibly go in this desolate place to find food to satisfy all these people? They're immediately frustrated and dismayed at the impossible task of feeding such a crowd. They're telling the Lord what he knew, that this was a barren area. Cities were far away, there weren't even villages nearby. Finding food for this many people just wasn't feasible nor realistic. The disciples had already seen Christ feed an even greater crowd, but they were still at a loss when a similar problem arose. We can't be too hard on them though, because we do the exact same thing. We forget what the Lord has done for us in the past, and we doubt, and our faith gives way when difficult circumstances come into our lives. The disciples had to be taught and learn the same lesson again, that of recognizing their own insufficiency in an impossible situation, and their need to depend on the Lord. We often get faith amnesia and are thick-skulled like this. We too have to learn the same lesson over and over again before it gets through to us in our Christian lives. After the Lord multiplied the loaves and fishes and fed the 4,000, it gets even more amazing and somewhat humorous as you read on in Mark 8. While leaving to cross the Sea of Galilee again, the Lord began telling them to beware of the leaven, or corrupting doctrine, of the Pharisees and of Herod, causing the disciples to be reminded that they had forgotten to bring bread except for the 1 loaf they had with them. These same disciples, who had barely gotten done handing out the multiplied bread to the 4,000, started worrying and whispering among themselves, saying that the Lord spoke of leaven because they hadn't brought enough bread. Mark 8:13-16. Perceiving their discussion and thoughts, in Matthew's account, the Lord incredulously asks, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have brought no bread? 16:8. He then asked them, Don't you remember? When I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many baskets full of pieces did you pick up? They sheepishly replied, 12. And when I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many baskets full of leftovers did you pick up? They awkwardly admitted, 7. So he said to them, How is it that ye do not understand? Mark 8:21. Or, how is it that you don't get it yet? You don't have to worry about bread. Just trust me. God had intervened miraculously and worked in their lives, but when the next difficult issue arose, their current situation and problem overwhelmed them, and the past goodness and working of God in their lives were then forgotten. They struggled with the idea that Christ could supply their needs and provide for them. They struggled with remembering what God had done for them in the past and that He is willing and able. They simply struggled with just trusting Him. And truthfully, we too all struggle with these things at one time or another in our Christian lives. Admitting that our faith always has room for growth is important for God, by His Word and the circumstances of our lives, to perfect that which is lacking in your faith. 1 These 3:10. May we have the same honesty of the man who pleaded for the deliverance of his demon-possessed son. Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. Mark 9:24.